So before there was the Doomsday couple, Chad and Lori Daybell, there was Chad and Tammy Daybell, a seemingly happy, normal couple raising their beautiful family in Idaho. But then everything changed in 2019. Tammy suddenly passes away. Chad suddenly brings around a new woman and marries her just weeks after his wife's death.
We asked him how he was doing, and he said, actually, I'm doing really good. And that he'd met the woman he was going to marry, and
you recall this being around October 26th, and Tammy had just passed away or been declared dead on the 19th?
Yes.
Did you find, did it surprise you that he seemed to be doing so well?
Yes, we were shocked. And he went on to say how beautiful she was, and we asked him where he'd met her, and he said at a conference in St. George in October. And we asked him her name, and first he wasn't going to tell us, and then he said, well, I'll tell you. And he said Lori Vallow, and I had no idea who. Well, I thinking, who's Lori Vallow? And then he mentioned that she did a podcast with Melanie Gibb. And so then that, that's who that is.
And then you had some name recognition?
Yes, just knowing that she had done a podcast with Melanie Gibb.
Oh, and then so much more happened. Let's get you the latest right now and go live to Boise, Idaho, where this case is happening. That is where we find Court TV anchor Ted Rowland standing by for us this morning. Ted, good morning to you. Could we talk a little bit more about that neighbor, Alice Gilbert's testimony? We just heard that little snippet, but you know, what was going on with the Gilberts and the Daybells, and anything that she was able to share about the relationship while she was on the stand?
Yeah, well, Alice and Todd Gilbert were neighbors, like you said, of the Daybells when Tammy and Chad were the Daybells. And boy, they were a load of information for this jury yesterday. They both took the stand, and Alice was very close to Tammy. They both worked together in the LDS church community, and she described the just stark difference between the way Chad was acting and everybody else, including the kids. She said the kids were absolutely devastated, but not Chad. Take a listen.
At some point, did someone take the phone from Emma?
Chad did.
And what did Chad tell you?
He told me not to tell anybody and to wait for about an hour. And I said, well, I need to call the bishop. And he said, no, don't call. But I still did.
And to be clear, was that on October 19th of 2019?
Yes.
At some point that day, did you end up going to the Daybell residence?
Yes, we went over about 8:30 in the morning.
Did you make observations of Chad when you arrived?
Yes, he met us at the door, and he gave me a hug, and all the children were there, and their spouses, except for Mark. And the children were stunned. They were all on the couch and chairs, and they could hardly speak. They were stunned at this, but Chad was not stunned.
Yeah, and the Gilberts, Julie, also talked about the way Chad and Lori were like teenagers in love, really painting a picture of the attitude specifically that Chad Daybell had after the passing of his wife.
It is so sickening, Ted, as you know. Speaking of sickening, you know, we don't know if Cult Mom is going to be wanting to take the stand and tell her story firsthand to this jury. Of course, we know she has a right to. But the jury has been able to actually hear somewhat of her story, right? I understand they got to hear a little bit of a podcast.
Yeah. Yes, and this was they got it in through the Gilberts because the Gilberts listened to this podcast that, Melanie Gibb and Lori were on. So the jury heard about 10 minutes of this podcast, and Lori's voice was in the courtroom, and she talked about how she had wrestled with Satan and how she was trying to, bring other people up, and how God had given her these people in her life like Melanie Gibb. Take a listen to Lori in her own words.
I wanted to be out of here. And I didn't want to kill myself. I wanted to pray and have the Lord just take me. Like, as a sweet mercy, just take me, done, kind of, I'm out of this game. And he showed me myself as a warrior in the pre-existence. As a warrior, like a beast. Like, I fought with Satan. He hates me. I did all these things. And so he showed that to me so that I would tell him. I was crying in the temple all day long in this lunchroom, bawling my eyes out. People coming up, lady, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. I sit there crying all the time. But he showed me so that I, too, could be the warrior that he sent me here to do. And do I want to go back and say, I can't do this, it was too hard, I didn't do it? No, none of us want to go back and do that. We came here to fight this war, and what I know directly from Jesus Christ and angels from on high who have come to minister to me.
Julie, this trial's got a lot of wacky stuff in it. And,
Honest to goodness.
That was part of it, this whole thing.
Ted, when she's saying Satan hates her, all I could think about was, well, Satan's not the only one who hates you, Cult Mom. I think there's a lot of people watching this trial that hate her too. Woo. Ted, I have so many more questions for you. Perhaps one of the most pressing ones is, what do we know about what might happen today? I know the state's very tight-lipped, but what, if anything, might we be expecting to occur today when things pick up?
Well, we do know Melanie Pawlowski is in the wings. She was in the courthouse yesterday, so we're expecting her on the stand. And this is another insider. This is the niece of Lori, and she bought all of this religious nonsense hook, line, and sinker. She was right there. She was in Rexburg. She was everywhere. And remember, her ex-husband was the target of one of Alex Cox's schemes to try to shoot him. He missed him, but he shot at him. So this is a crucial witness for the state, another one of these insiders that will take this jury to the next level in terms of trying to understand Lori's role. And it'll be fascinating to see what she says about old Aunt Lori.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned that, Ted. So Brandon Boudreaux, right? That's who Melanie was married to. Is that correct? Melanie Pawlowski?
Yeah, Pawlowski. Now, she used to be Melanie Boudreaux, right?
Used to be. Yeah, it's hard to keep everybody straight because there's Melanie Gibb, as we know, too. So, boy, oh, boy. Ted Rowlands, thank you for all of that. Looking forward to talking with you in our next hour. And, of course, a little reminder, Cordy's watch Ted. He's anchoring his show all this week in Idaho. I have all the very latest, and who knows who's going to, pop up as he's hosting, going in and out of that courthouse. Ted, thank you kindly. I'm going to bring in my guest now. She is standing by in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She is a trial attorney and a big champion for victims' rights. Sarah Klein on the show this morning. Good morning, my friend. Good to see you.
Good morning, Julie.
Oh, my gosh. Where do we begin, Sarah? How about with some more of the testimony? I want you to help me dissect it, please. So Alice Gilbert, the neighbor that Ted was telling us about, I mean, the neighbors, the Gilberts, they really spilled a lot, as you know, about the Daybells and the dynamic, and suddenly cult moms in the picture. So here, this is a clip where she's talking about how Chad behaved at Tammy's funeral. And it's important to remember for anybody who is just starting to follow this trial, Lori's in the picture. She's in the picture at this point in time. So let's listen.
When you were at the funeral, do you recall making any observations of Chad?
He was standing by the casket. I told him that Tammy looked good. And he just said, yeah, she does. It wasn't really mournful to me, but I didn't know how he was reacting to things.
And do you recall if Chad also spoke at the funeral?
He did. He spoke last.
And did you make any observations regarding his talk?
He gave a good talk too. Maybe more like a church talk than a spouse would speak about their mother spouse.
Sarah Klein, all I keep thinking is how Tammy Daybell needs an advocate, and perhaps Alice Gilbert is that. Curious to get your thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, I mean, Julie, as Ted said, this case is crazy and nothing adds up here. And every day in court, things are getting more disturbing by the day. But I think we learned a lot yesterday. First of all, this guy, Chad, has absolutely no remorse. Shortly before Tammy dies, we've got him telling the neighbors he had a vision of her and that her time on earth is coming to an end and she's not going to live past 50. Julie, who says that unless they have a plan to kill their spouse? His behavior is not adding up. And what we learned from both of the neighbors that testified is that there was clearly a plan here. The fact that they couldn't get a straight answer from Chad and Lori about how many children Lori has just weeks after Tammy dies and Lori swoops into the picture is insane. I'm a mom. If you ask me about my kids, I'm going to whip out my phone. I'm going to tell you everything they ate for breakfast. They can't answer a simple question about how many children she has. This is crazy. There was a plan, and Chad's behavior speaks to that immensely.
Absolutely. You're so right. There was a plan. It was sinister. It was sickening. And you know what? How about a divorce plan, right? I mean, Sarah, you do civil work. It's like, it's real easy to just, find a nice attorney and you want to part ways. People don't need to die. Oh my gosh. And then Lori and Chad, the way that she comes, she just swoops in to Idaho. I've got another clip for you, Sarah, from Alice Gilbert. And this is where she's at the Daybell residence and she sees cult mom and Mr. Prophet all cuddled up on the couch. Let's watch.
And they came to the house in the afternoon, and it was cold, and so I asked her if she was used to Idaho weather, and she said she'd bought some warmer clothes, and they came in and sat on the couch and was quite affectionate with each other.
And when you say quite affectionate, could you describe a little bit about what you were observing?
It was abnormal for us to see Chad that way. So, his arm was around her. He had his arm over her legs, and she was giggling and laughing. And for Todd and I, for my husband and I, we were embarrassed just because we hadn't seen Chad in a thing that way, especially they look like teenagers.
Sarah, I want to talk to you about the Daybell kids, please, and how they might be feeling witnessing something like that. And I haven't spoken to them directly. They've been pretty quiet throughout all of this, but my heart breaks for them. I know your heart breaks for them. All of our wonderful courties, feel terribly for these kids. I mean, innocent in all of this, the Daybell kids, now they have no mother, their mother's deceased, she's never coming back. Their father, who knows if he's coming back, he's in the slammer for the time being as he's awaiting his death penalty case. But the kids, from what I understand, Sarah, they're supporting their dad. From what we understand, they're supporting him, believing in him. I think that's hard for a lot of people to wrap their minds around. Would you speak to that for us, please?
Yeah, absolutely. It's extremely difficult to go from loving somebody to viewing them as a perpetrator. I think in a child's mind, and I know they're older now, but to recognize that sort of love and somebody doing evil acts or being evil can coexist at the same time, and that's going to be a lengthy healing therapeutic process that they're going to have to go through or have gone through, hopefully, to be able to understand that paradigm that good and evil can exist at the same time.
Oh, that's a really great way to put it, Sarah. Thank you for that. I know you'd have some words of wisdom for us on that. We want to talk to you some more. We're going to squeeze in a break. Sarah Klein's with me this hour, and here's what we're doing, folks. We're breaking down the cases of two alleged killer moms. Later on in this hour, we're diving into the stepmother murder trial where Letitia Stout is accused of murdering her stepson, Gannon. We've got an expert coming on the show to break down her insanity claims. Are they going to hold up in court legally? And when we come back right after this, more evidence for you and more heartbreaking testimony in the Doomsday cult mom murder trial.
It's a mystery that's captivated the nation.
This stretch is just so beyond what anyone could imagine.
And left a trail of dead bodies.
Lori Daybell, accused of triple murder, including her two youngest children.
You'll hear every dramatic moment.
Money, power, and sex. That's what this case is about.
Just tell the truth. It's that simple.
The Doomsday Cult Mom Murder Trial. Coverage continues today, only on Court TV.
Everyday people caught up in a plan to commit murder. But just who is the puppet? And who's pulling the strings?
Accomplice to Murder with Vanny Politan. Premieres Sunday night, 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
To watch my pal there in his brand new show Sunday night. Welcome back to our show this morning. I'm your host, Julie Grant. So today we're gearing up for another big day in Idaho. More testimony that could be very damaging to Doomsday cult mom Lori Daybell as she's standing trial for murder. 3 people dead. Now, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time is when they start court every day. And on Tuesday, the jury was left with a very interesting tidbit, quite a cliffhanger, when Tammy's former neighbor recalled meeting cult mom and being told that she had no living children.
And when Chad told you that Lori had a daughter that had died recently, or that she'd recently lost a daughter, Lori didn't say anything different?
No.
She didn't contradict that information?
I had the impression that she had no other children. That she was like an empty nester. And I thought that the daughter that had died was like an older daughter, maybe of cancer or illness or something.
And did Chad or Lori provide you any details as to how Lori's daughter had died?
No, and I didn't pursue that question with her.
And perhaps if Alice Gilbert had pursued that question, she wouldn't have gotten an answer, because the jury's probably going to never know exactly how that daughter died, because there was so little left of that daughter, Tylee Ryan. So little left of her remains. They identified her by dental records. Just literally pieces of her burned, charred bones, because her body was charred in that fire pit on Mr. Doomsday's property. Little pieces of her flesh left behind. How was she killed? The world may never know. Perhaps the only person who does know is cult mom. And one of the most poignant moments in this case was when the jury got to hear cult mom's own sister, Summer Shiflett, confronting her as the prosecutors played an audio recording when cult mom's in the slammer and the kids have been discovered buried in the backyard. JJ covered in plastic, his mouth wrapped with duct tape. And Summer Shiflett, I mean, you can almost feel her emotion as you hear that call. Let's listen to it together now.
I don't have one scripture that says it's okay for children to be thrown away like garbage in the ground. And that's okay. There is nothing in the scriptures that is godly about hurting a child. Nothing. And they deserve a proper burial with family that loves them at the least. I can't support that. That's hurtful to everyone. That's the most selfish, incredibly selfish thing I can think of. I can't think of anything worse.
Yeah, she's right. Can you think of anything worse? You know, those kids were wanted. Summer Shiflett would have taken those kids. Colby Ryan would have taken those kids. The Woodcocks, Kay and Larry, those wonderful people that have sort of become the faces of advocacy for those children. They would have loved to have had those kids. But no, those kids are gone. Let me bring back in my guest. She is a champion for victims' rights. Civil trial attorney Sarah Klein practices in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Sarah, so great to have you on the show with us. I know this has to boil your blood hearing this. Your reactions to this testimony, please.
It is deeply, deeply painful and disturbing to listen to, and I am sure it's hitting the jury the exact same way. A picture of Lori Vallow that's being painted, rightfully so, is as a soulless woman, but more importantly, a soulless mother. There are lies, lies, and more lies with Chad and Lori Daybell, and this is going to enrage any parent on that jury, or really, frankly, anybody who loves a child or knows a child on that jury, which is likely going to be all of them.
Absolutely, Sarah. I agree with you that she is soulless, and prosecutors should use that word. They really should. In closing arguments, they should say, in order to understand this, or maybe even in opening statements, you know, it's good to push it. Good trial attorneys, you know, Sarah, you push it, you walk that line, you know, say, so you understand she is not like you, members of the jury. She's not. You know, and her family, the people who love her the most in this world, are appalled by her conduct. Her sister, and then I've got another clip I want to play for you, please, Sarah. This is from her son, Colby Ryan, how appalled he is. It's the same kind of thing, like the jail phone call, and he is just, I mean, just brutally honest with her, and it is very troubling. Let's listen.
You think you can hide from me? Probably because you murdered my siblings. That's probably why I'm still talking to you. Maybe you should understand.
I didn't necessarily that you felt that way.
You didn't do anything, right? Mom, I have prayed for you in my worst moments. I have prayed for my siblings who swore to me we're okay. I thought I could trust you. I thought that you were a completely different person.
Sarah, you are such a wonderful champion for victims' rights. And I think one thing important to remember here is there are other victims, as you know, beyond Tammy, Tylee, and JJ. Colby Ryan is a victim too, losing his siblings. Mom is charged, so is mom's husband. I mean, what a mess. His uncle is implicated in all this, even though he's dead. Would you speak to that kind of trauma somebody like Colby is left with when he's he is an adult, but still somebody who's going to be affected by this probably forever, huh?
Absolutely. I think that testimony we heard from Colby Ryan is, for me, some of the hardest to listen to, because he's asking the questions that all of us would be asking our parents if our siblings had gone missing like this. And I think what we hear back really goes to Lori's mentality of no remorse, righteousness, lies, and to be the child, like I said earlier, who innately loves their parent, right? Children grow up, we sort of blindly love our parents. And so he arrives at adulthood and learns that this woman that he's loved for the entirety of his life could actually be a monster and is lying and righteous and all of the things I said. That for him has got to be an extremely difficult thing to digest in his mind, in his therapeutic process. He is going to have to decipher between the mother he was raised by, whom he loved and blindly trusted because that's what kids do, and a woman who could murder his siblings, a woman who has no remorse, a woman who would marry a man like Chad Daybell and believe the crazy Looney Tunes things that those two believed. I feel for him. My heart breaks for him. He's got a long, long road ahead. Thankfully, it sounds to me, even from these jail calls, that he's got a great head on his shoulders, and hearing that testimony, I think, will be pivotal to this prosecution.